Everybody loves the American campfire. Don't you hear it calling your name? Everybody loves the American campfire.
Somebody say glory, glory, hallelujah. Happy October and welcome to the D Block, the Uncle Ted Spirit Campfire on Real America's Voice. I'm going to say it again. Redundancy, engineered redundancy, engineered obsolescence is running amok in the production of products in America. But I have engineered intentional redundancy because some things are worth repeating. Go to tednugent.com and see what we're doing. We're having a riot. The music does not end. In fact, Sunday night, this is a conservation segment. This is the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild Spirit Campfire conservation segment. So get out there, get a bow and arrow, go walk on the wild side, go fishing, figure out how to become a member of the National Trappers Association and trap the varmints instead of having the government come in blowing our tax dollars to trap stuff multiple times, charging us multiple times to do what we should be doing. You know, the whole intention of the Founding Fathers was to give King George a flame-throwing middle finger, which I'm the master of. The Founding Fathers wanted everybody to be just like me, to be just like Alex Jones, to be just like Jesse Waters and Greg Gutfeld, to be defiant and suspicious, to be like Tucker Carlson. Tucker, I love you, buddy. And Candace Owens. I know there's a big whirlwind around Candace Owens. I love Candace Owens. What a great, beautiful woman of truth, logic, and common sense, digging to find out what the truth that is being hidden by Uncle Sam. I want to see the Epstein videos. I want to see the Epstein Island tapes. I want to know what the Nashville Shooters Manifesto said and how that the LGBTQ queer world is just wildly violent with all their murdering and their shootings and their arson. I want to see the details. I want to know about the Las Vegas shooter. That wasn't a bump stock. That wasn't one guy shooting. How about Lee Harvey Oswald? How about the Charlie Kirk? Did Lee Harvey Oswald shoot Charlie Kirk? I don't think so. Or their new version of Lee Harvey Oswald. Come on, Uncle Sam, you work for us. We want to see the truth. And I know this is the conservation segment, but you can't have freedom if King George thinks he can control the deer and the wildlife. Those are our animals, we the people experimenting in self-government. And if you haven't raised hell with your game department, they will continue to walk all over you. Again, Texas Parks and Wildlife. In the state of Minnesota, under the weird freak idiot Tim Walz governor, Governor Abbott, I'm talking to you. Governor Abbott, how can the freak communist Tim Walz have better deer hunting policy than Texas Governor Greg Abbott? Governor Abbott, how can this be? You can hunt deer downtown in the environs of Minneapolis, St. Paul to manage the wildlife population in the government controlled by Tim Walz of Minnesota. But Greg Abbott, I'm not allowed to hunt the deer in Waco that are overpopulated in the Waco Park, Lake Waco. So Governor Greg Abbott of Texas has a worse policy than Tim Walz in Minnesota? Governor Abbott, call me. How can I can hunt deer with a bow and arrow in Newark, New Jersey, under the insane communist Governor Murphy, but in Texas under the so-called conservative Republican Governor Greg Abbott, I can't hunt deer in Bernie, in gated communities, in Waco, Texas, where the deer population is overpopulated. Governor Abbott, I'm talking to you, sir. Your Texas Parks and Wildlife are pissing in your face. They're anti-freedom. They're anti-private property rights. They're anti-wildlife. They're anti-hunting. They're anti-nature. They're anti-goodwill and decency and wildlife health and thriving balance. David Yakovich, the director of Texas Parks and Wildlife, call me. Chronic wasting disease has never hurt a deer herd, ever. For every case of chronic wasting disease, millions of fawns are born next spring. More deer will die on Michigan highways today than all confirmed deaths by CWD. Well, it's always fatal. You don't know that. You would only know it's always fatal if you knew for sure that all the deer that are alive don't have it. The deer are going to be killed by wolves and bears and cars and trucks and hunters and feral dogs and coyotes. Not chronic wasting disease. Come on. Please, all you real conservationists, you've got to call your game departments, your DNR, your Texas Parks and Wildlife. They are out of control. Chronic wasting disease is a money laundering scam. Well, would you eat a positive hamburger from a chronic wasting disease deer? Yes, I would, because the proof of the science is that it can't be transferred to humans. It's like mad cow disease in bovines, scrapies in sheep, Creutzfeldt-Jacobs in humans, and chronic wasting disease in deer. Now, you wonder why I keep talking about this. Because if you don't have the freedom to hunt based on science, sustained yield, habitat carrying capacity, winter severity index, population dynamics, if you don't have that right, you don't have an America. It's unbelievable. People are getting tickets because there's corn in the bird feeder. You game wardens, I love you game wardens, but you have to think, man. You have to think. Well, it's the law. Would you arrest Rosa Parks? Would you shoot Vicki Weaver? How about you black game wardens? Would you let them lynch the black kid because he looked at the white wife? Because that was the law. It was an unbelievably foolish, criminal, insane law. You get rid of insane, cruel laws. And that includes baiting deer or chronic wasting disease deer testing. They want me to turn my deer heads in to the veterinarian of Texas Parks and Wildlife that gets it wrong all the time. They slaughtered thousands of deer. Oops, it was a false positive. You're not getting my deer heads. And by the way, Texas Parks and Wildlife, you threatened me. You said if I don't turn my deer heads into your state veterinarian who gets it wrong with a disease that doesn't matter, that you'll take away my permits. Do I need a license to sell you a beer? No. Do I need a marriage license? No. Do I need a trapping license? Do I need a hunting? Do I need a fishing license in the pond on my property? Come on. Licenses, permits, fees, taxes, licenses, permits, fees, taxes. Stick them up your ass. Well, you have to have management. That's not management. That's abuse of power. So they're going to take away my right on my property on Spirit Wild Ranch in Texas to manage my deer and balance my herd to harvest the surplus. And if you don't allow me to do that, hey, David Yakovich, are you going to come in and shoot my deer? Let me tell you something. You're not going to come in and shoot my deer, period. Craig Hernandez, the captain, game warden. I love you, Craig. You're a great man. Craig Hernandez, Mike Strabanic, they're dedicated to conservation. I take that back. They're not dedicated to conservation. They blindly obey illegal law enforcement. Now, they did do a great job catching these duck hunters that killed all those gadwalls. You're doing a great job when you find poachers that ruin wildlife. But you're not coming on my property and shooting the deer you don't allow me to shoot. Just write that down, guys. Write it down. Yikes. So conservation is the wise, responsible use of God's miraculous natural creation. which is why we have a hunting season every fall to harvest the surplus that was grown through the spring and summer. All those new animals were born in the spring and summer, and they flourished during the proper optimum conditions of summer. And then in the fall, we harvest that surplus because the depth of winter will not support that annual growth. Did you get that? That's never been mentioned in a school in America. But the guitar player who wrote Wang Dang Sweet Poon Tang just told you exactly the science-based wildlife management that no Department of Natural Resources or Game Department or U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service or the Texas Parks and Wildlife, they don't adhere to that natural science harvest responsibility. It's tragic. It's tragic. So I hope you all are having a wonderful October. I'm having a wonderful October. I've been skunked like 17 days in a row, something like that. The deer don't like me. I must give off a death signal or something. But anyhow, I want to thank you. I want to thank Shahu and John and Parker and Ryan and the whole SIG family, the Real America's Voice team, Linda Peterson, I love you, Shemaine, Faith and Freedom, Toby and Rocco, who are helping out. Dave Watson, my co-producer and editor on Ted Nugent's Spirit of the Wild TV. He's been with me for over 20 years, something like that. We are producing, I think we're approaching our 700th episode on Ted Nugent's Spirit of the Wild on the Pursuit channel 8 times a week. It's so much fun. Shemaine is so beautiful. She's so good. She's so deadly. She's so dedicated. She's so smart. Shemaine Nugent, Real America Voice, Faith and Freedom. Tell everybody you know that I will be on with Meltdown on Sirius XM Ozzy's Boneyard Sunday night at 7 p.m. I love you people. Happy October.
And it gets me thinking.